How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be recapping UFC Mexico City, Moreno vs. Erceg. That wrapped up probably about, 2 hours ago or so. Fuck, I went too far up. I did pretty solid on picks. I went 9-3. I don't know what I went on confident picks. Probably 3-0, to be fair. Card was good. Not a lot of finishes, but still pretty solid card overall. I got the main event right. Speaking of which, let's get right into it. The main event, Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Pretty clear fight. It is a weird fight because it seems like Steve actually outstruck him in every single round. That's actually kind of crazy. But Brandon Moreno clearly landed the better shots round for round. I think the round that is probably the round you give to Steve in this scenario is round 3. Round 2 was also pretty close. So was round 4. Round 4 is when I think Brandon actually gets was that when he actually gets like a takedown, I believe? Or that Steve ends up on his back somewhat. Yeah, Moreno just did he didn't do more, he just landed the better, more cleaner shots in this fight, which of course wins you the fight when you do the more damaging shots. Steve did land some really solid stuff. It's just he didn't have a lot of intent behind a lot of stuff he was throwing. It was a lot of just volume type striking, Royval striking, if you will. It wasn't like usual Steve Erceg stuff where he was just, he was throwing with some killer intention out there. In this fight, he was more defensive when it came to a lot of stuff, which I kind of figured he would, considering he got fucking KO'd in the first round in his last fight. Still competitive. I think that 49-46 is probably the scorecard a lot of people had. I saw some people saying 48-47, which I can understand as well, because there are a couple close rounds in this fight. But I think overall, Brandon Moreno just won. And also, where do we go from here? Not a lot. Like round 1, Moreno wobbled Erceg at one point. He landed a lot of good right hands and left hooks. Same with round 2. Round 3, Moreno didn't literally land a lot. He didn't really land anything with any intent at all. And Steve actually did land some solid shots. Round 4, again, Moreno starts landing some better shots. Same with round 5. Neither of them really gassed out. No real cardio issues in this fight. Actually, they both look pretty good. But where do we go from here? Like, where do we go with Moreno and Erceg in this scenario? With Erceg, I think you just have to rebook him versus Asu Almabayev. It was a matchup that was supposed to happen at Vegas 103. I think it should have happened in the first place. I don't think Steve Erceg should have gotten this opportunity, if I'm being honest, and I love Steve Erceg. And Moreno, I don't know what you do with Moreno, because it seems more and more every day that we're getting Pantoja versus Kai Kara France, which is going to sideline both Moreno and Royval, which, in my opinion, I think you could do Moreno versus Royval 3, especially considering that UFC 320 is going to be in Guadalajara for UFC Noche, aka UFC 320, like I said. You could do that as a fight on that card if you want. I think that fight, 3 rounds, is pretty good. I don't think we need that for another 5-rounder. Also, it gives us the chance to see them not at elevation, which that fight kind of did suck at elevation. Maybe we see some more rigorous training and fighting from Brandon Moreno and not this pitter-patter stuff that he had in their second fight. We move to the co-main event, Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. Dude, Drew got fucking slept, man. This was bad. First of all, Drew didn't really land anything, as you can see. Manuel was landing pretty decent at range. He actually only missed 2 shots. But I imagine his 2 shots he missed were like the charging 1 and 2 that he had, that he whiffed and left his chin in the air. Yeah, this is a really bad KO. Manuel kind of peeking at range, throwing a 1, throwing a 2, landed a solid hook. At one point, he hurt Drew earlier in the round with something, hit him with something. I was like, don't get hit by that again, Drew. And lo and behold, Manuel throws a left jab and then follows up with a right hand behind it. Ends up just clobbering Drew at the jaw joint and neck meat area, and just fucking slumped him. Manuel jumps on him, lands 15 hammer fists to the side of his head and slumps him. Should have been stopped earlier. Not a lot to break down. Drew Dober. I don't even know who Drew Dober fights next. Maybe Drew Dober, Chris Duncan. If you want to do that fight, I think that fight would be pretty good. Drew Dober is kind of in an area where he's lost 3 in a row now, is it? Joan. No, is it 3 in a row? It would be this fight, and then Joan. And then I thought Ricky Glenn was before that. Was Ricky Glenn? I don't know. Actually, I can figure out right here. Is it 3 in a row? No, it's 2 in a row. No, it is 3 in a row. Moicano was after the Ricky Glenn fight? I had no idea, actually. Alright. I have to go back. My fault, original gangsters. Oh, shit. Come on. There we go. Alright. But back to this. Yeah, Manuel just knocked it out. Manuel Torres, he's in a weird spot now because he's 4-1 in the UFC. With some solid wins. Drew Dober now, of course. Chris Duncan, aforementioned. Then he's got a Frank Camacho and Nicholas Moto win. Nicholas Moto coming off a win after UFC Macau. I don't know who Manuel fights after this, because he did lose to Ignacio Bahamondes. That win, or loss rather, is aging pretty well. I think you can do Manuel Torres versus Ludovic Klein. I think that fight would be pretty badass. Or Manuel versus possibly Joel Alvarez. Maybe. You could do him versus Joel Alvarez. Maybe him versus, who's another streaking? If Fares Ziam doesn't get a ranked opportunity, him versus Manuel Torres would be a sick fight. Just get Manuel Torres in there with someone who's almost reaching top 15, or give him, I was about to say Bobby Green. Definitely don't do that. Manuel Torres, Mauricio Rufy would actually be kind of cool, though. That would actually do that. Be sick. Maybe that's the fight to make next. We move to the featured fight. Edgar Cháirez versus CJ Vergara. The featured fight was not Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer, like we all thought it would be. Joe Pyfer pulled out due to illness. Well, this fight was pretty sick. No, it wasn't. Edgar Cháirez hurt him pretty bad in the first and then subbed him. CJ, kind of just fat, plotting at range. Edgar throwing out a jab and a one. That's exactly what a jab is. Kind of just throwing at range. Ends up throwing kind of a wayward left hook that lands with the side of the fist first. Clobbered CJ and dropped him bad, had him hurt. Edgar kind of played up to the crowd and let CJ recover a little bit, and then landed threw a 1 and 2, and then threw a right hand afterwards that hit CJ on the temple. CJ, kind of being CJ Vergara, gave up his back, and Edgar, instead of punching the side of his head and trying to get him back down, he just jumps on his back, drags him down from his neck, gets a rear naked choke, and locks it in. Beautiful finishing instincts by Edgar Cháirez. CJ Vergara, probably cut from the UFC, 3-5 in the promotion. We don't need you around anymore. You're not good. That's 2 finished losses in a row now, right? Actually, might be more. No, the Vinicius Salvador fight. I forgot. I saw that in person. Yeah. Edgar Cháirez, back in the win column, of course, lost to Joshua Van at 306. That's not even that bad of a loss. It's aging pretty well, actually. I don't know who you do Edgar Cháirez against. Cháirez versus Felipe Dos Santos? No. Edgar Cháirez, Lone Kavanaugh. I think that'd be a good fight. Edgar against, or you could do him versus Rafael Esteban, maybe. Put those two together. I think that'd be a cool fight. We move to Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. Weird fight. I honestly think a 29-28 Vince Morales isn't a crazy thing to say. as a scorecard, if I'm being honest with you. I think 2 and 3 could definitely, like, damage-wise, be scored to Vince Morales. If this round is a Vince Morales round, round 2 is. Right? The only difference is Vince went for subs. Right? In round 2, he actually lands more and landed better shots in this round than round 3. And listen, I'm coping a little bit. Raul controlled very well in this fight. Vince Morales kind of got taken down. He didn't get he got taken down every round. Went for subs and opportunities. Round 1, he didn't really do a lot. Raul actually kind of pressed the fight, picked him up, slammed him down. And then Vince ended up on top at the end of the round. Round 2 and round 3 were like just scrambling a lot. It was a lot of like round 2 of the Elijah Smith fight in a way in rounds 2 and 3. Round 3 was exactly like the Elijah Smith round 2. And round 2 was just kind of like, I don't even know. It was like round 2 of Elijah Smith, but without submission attempts. Very close fight. This still proves to me that Raul Rosas Jr. is not all that great, in my opinion. When he fights somebody who is good, who is good, right, he is going to lose. And I mean that wholeheartedly. His striking, still subpar as fuck. Okay, his wrestling is decent. Don't get me wrong. His controlling ability is very good. His ability to keep on the back and stay on the back was very good. I think you do Raul Rosas Jr. versus Peyton Talbot next. I think that is a very viable matchup. 3-1 in the UFC, Peyton Talbot. Raul Rosas Jr. now 5-1 in the UFC. Put prospects against one another. I want to see what happens. Raul Rosas Jr. has the wrestling. Peyton Talbot's biggest weakness was his grappling in his last fight. On the feet, anything can happen with Peyton Talbot. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. If Peyton Talbot doesn't get back in there in a while, I imagine Raul is going to try and get on 320, that Guadalajara card. You could do that. We move to David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. As a minus 700, you should fight like this. Simon Oliveira looked pretty bad. Didn't really do anything of note. David Martinez, very quick kicks in this fight. Looked very good. And his pull counter to end the fight was very good. Simon Oliveira throwing kind of a lazy left hook or jab. I forget what it was. Gets immediately slip countered with a right straight or like a right hook or something along those lines. Ends up getting hurt really bad. David swarms him. Finds a knee up the middle. Finds some ground and pound shots. Beautiful finish by David Martinez. Very good fighter. This is bantamweight. I did not know this was bantamweight. I thought this was featherweight. Huh. I didn't know that. Oh, why didn't I know that? That's weird to me that I didn't know that. Did I have it as featherweight? Hold up. Ignore this. Ignore all this stuff. Did I have it labeled as? I had it labeled as featherweight. I thought it was a featherweight fight. Guess not. Great win anyways for David Martinez. That makes me actually more hypeful of him because I thought David Martinez was severely undersized for bantamweight. That's why I was kind of worried for his career going into this. Now that I know he's a bantamweight, I think this guy's actually going to have a very successful career. Very quick, very powerful, as we saw in this fight. Finished Simon Oliveira very easily. Looked very good on the feet, defensively sound as well. This guy's going to go far, I imagine it. We move to the start of the main card. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. Man, Kevin kind of tuned him up. Be honest with you. I think this was 30-27. I'll be honest with you. Kevin Borjas beat his ass in a way. Dropped him basically twice in the first round. Caught him and cracked him in rounds 2 and 3. Ronaldo's got a chin on him. Don't get me wrong. Very fun fighter. But, man, I knew Luis Ronaldo Rodriguez. I knew Lazy Boy wasn't all that great. But I didn't expect Kevin Borjas to be the guy to really expose that. But god damn it, he did. Holy shit. God damn it, he did, man. He really fucked him up. and his striking looked very good, very crisp. His counter right hand was landing basically every fucking time. He was actually defensively sound as well, which is something I didn't expect from Kevin Borjas, because we didn't see that like at all against Costa and Joshua Van. Kevin Borjas gets re-signed probably. He was probably going to get cut if he lost this, but this is a very keep him performance. Ronaldo Rodriguez, he'll be back, probably fight at 320. As I mentioned, I don't know who you really put these guys against. Ronaldo Rodriguez, you could do him versus like a fucking Stuart Nickel kind of guy, just like a very grappler heavy dude. Kind of like Dennis Bondar was, where he grappled a lot in their first fight. Or you could do him versus like a Ray Saruya, maybe. One of those types. A grappler who's going to try and like take him down. Because Ronaldo Rodriguez actually has some grappling chops. Maybe force it into a striker's fight. Let's move. Let's fucking move, man. To Jose Daniel Medina, or the featured prelim rather. Jose Daniel Medina versus Ateba Gautier. Holy shit. Ateba Gautier is going to be a fucking monster, lads. This fucking athletic freakazoid might run through a lot of unathletic heavy middleweights, rather. Jose Daniel Medina, going into this, we knew he was shit. I honestly thought Ateba wasn't going to finish him, but goddamn it, he did. Zachary Reese couldn't. Magomed Gajiasulov couldn't. Ateba Gautier didn't even make it out of the first round. He looked good. Like, going into this fight, I really thought Ateba was just like a physical specimen. Like, he was like an athletic freak who kind of relies on it. Dude, he's actually kind of good. Striking looked very good. Very calm and collected when it came to things. He didn't rush things. The only thing that he kind of rushed was when he caught Jose with like the left hook, right overhand, or right hook over the top that caught him, and then like the 4-punch sequence that led into the knee. Besides that, he was jabbing Jose up. Very good distance management. He knew how to use his range. And by God, that knee was beautiful. Sends Jose Daniel Medina into unconsciousness with a knee up the middle after unloading a barrage. And boom, knocks him out. Ateba Gautier hits hard as fuck. If he can continue to develop, he's 22 years old. We don't see a lot of middleweight talent under the age of 28. All right, a lot of the guys that are coming up and contenders are like older 20s, early 30s. If they can build Ateba Gautier correctly and not feed him to some wolves first, we have a fucking prospect on our hands, fellas. For one, the matchup that came to my mind after seeing that fight was Ateba Gautier, Cody Brundage. I think that fight would be very fun. Also a test. Cody Brundage might mix in some wrestling as well, but he's also chinny enough to where Ateba can just obliterate him. You know what I mean? Like, Cody Brundage showed some grit in the fight against Julian Marquez. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. Ateba Gautier. It's not a matchup that's going to shoot him up the rankings, but it's a matchup to get Ateba Gautier possibly on a pay-per-view prelim. You know what I mean? If Cody Brundage is getting co-main events of Apex cards and then on UFC 300 main cards, you could throw him versus Ateba Gautier on like International Fight Week prelims, right? I think that fight makes a lot of sense. Ateba Gautier, watch out for this athletic freak. We move to Christian Rodriguez versus Melquizayo Costa. Yeah, Melky just won. 1-2. Like, very clearly, in my opinion. I see some people claiming that they gave the first round to Christian Rodriguez. I really don't think so. The striking numbers, for one, show Melquizayo just was doing more. He actually did more with the takedown. It says that Christian took him down, but I think Melquizayo was actually the one that ended up on top. He actually reversed him. Reversed him 3 times, actually. Yeah, Melquizayo, and then round 2, he cut him open and started beating him up a little bit. Round 3, of course, Christian Rodriguez is going to do what Christian Rodriguez does, come close to finding some finishes on the feet and do very well. But he didn't do enough to win round 1. And that's an underdog for your boy. Melquizayo Costa, that's 3 in a row, I believe, for him. Shai Leonard and Becky, Andre Philly, and now Christian Rodriguez. So, yeah. Melquizayo, he just did more. Was more active in round 1. There was a lot of clinching in round 1. A lot of Melquizayo's was throwing knees to the thigh, knees to the body, kind of punching on the side of the stomach. Christian Rodriguez was kind of holding, not really doing much. Yeah, I think Melchizedek just did a bit more. One in my eyes, rounds 1 and 2. Christian Rodriguez, have fun beating another undefeated fighter, you fat cunt. We move to Lupi Godinez versus Julia Palostri. Honestly, very weird, very shaky fight. Very cool fight, actually, is what I mean. Lupi won rounds 1 and 2, in my opinion. Landed some really solid shots. Got 2 takedowns in each round. Got a lot of control time in both those rounds. Round 3 was a fucking barn burner of a fight. Julia just starts walking Lupita down and starts beating her ass. Coming close to, hurting her a lot on the feet. Lands a lot of 1s and 2s. Lupi was landing some solid hooks, but Julia would just eat that shit and walk forward. Julia Palostri actually can become a problem with the right training and not trying to aura farm in the first rounds. The first 2 rounds. That is something I've noticed about Julia Palostri is she tries to, look really cool in the first 2 rounds. She was ooh. Same with round 3, but round 3, Lupi was kind of tired from grappling, and Julia was just walking her down, just slugging it out. I like that performance from Julia Palostri. A very solid fight. Lupi Godinez, actually very entertaining. There was a moment where she fucking powerbomb slammed Julia in the first round, and she just was, slamming her with her takedowns. That's good. We like to see that for Julia Palostri, or Lupi Godinez, rather. And yeah, she just did more in the first 2 rounds. Landed some really solid shots on the feet as well. We move to Rafa Garcia versus Vink Pichel. Yeah, this was kind of an easy fight to score. Rafa Garcia landed the better shots in rounds 1 and 3. Round 2 was Vink Pichel's round for sure. I don't know how 2 judges had it 30-27. I thought Vink Pichel won the second round very clearly. And round 3 was close until Rafa got the slam takedown and landed some follow-up shots thereafter. Round 1, he just landed a lot of overhand rights. Vink Pichel started working his way into the fight at the latter half of the round, and then he got taken down like a bum. But, yeah, Rafa Garcia, just solid performance. Just did enough to win, which I'm not a huge fan of, that you had to do just enough to win to beat Vink Pichel as a prospect, but it is what it is. We move to Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda. Yeah, Jamal just knocked him out. There was a moment where Gabriel actually had Jamal Emmers' back, and I was very worried for a second because I was like, there's no fucking way that Jamal Emmers gets subbed. And he didn't. On the feet, Gabriel Miranda was just waiting to get knocked out, is what it looked like. And it's what happened. Jamal caught him with a right straight. Dropped him really. Was it a right straight? And dropped him really bad. And then wanted him to get back up. And then Gabriel, a couple minutes later, against the fence, Jamal starts kneeing his body and then throws a right hook and lands again on that jaw joint area and just slumps Gabriel Miranda. Stipe Miocic him, folds his leg over as he's falling back, fucking 2 aftershots. Literally like Francis Ngannou, on the neck of Gabriel Miranda. And good win for Jamal Emmers. His first win since UFC 295. Excuse me. Great fight. Great win. We move to the start of the entire card, Marquel Medeiros versus Austin Hubbard. Yeah, this fight pissed me off because, dude, Austin could have won, but he made a huge mistake in round 3. First of all, round 1, clearly Marquel Medeiros, he just landed the better shots. Marquel, seemingly hurt Austin. He landed some solid pocket shots. Round 2, dominant round, Austin gets the back for most of the round, and then Marquel just doesn't do anything. Round 3, Austin gets a takedown almost immediately, and then he tries to rush to the back of Marquel, ends up on his stomach and gets elbowed to the side of the head and starts bleeding everywhere. Gives the round to Marquel Medeiros. Good win for Marquel Medeiros. Still not very high on my prospect tier list. I don't really rate Marquel Medeiros, especially after this fight. Arguable. Not arguable. I think this fight was more clear than the Landon Quinones fight. I thought this was very clearly a 29-28 to Marquel Medeiros. Landon Quinones and Austin Hubbard, very close fights, though. Alright. If you're going to become something, not a huge fan. UFC Mexico City, Moreno Erceg was pretty good. How many finishes were there? Not a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So five finishes, 4 KOs. Yeah, pretty good. The main event was all right. Steve just didn't try to go for the kill at all. Manuel Torres murdered Drew Dober. Yeah, some solid prospects to look out for. David Martinez, Ateba Gauthier. Marcos Acosta is actually establishing himself pretty well as well. So, yeah, I'll try and get an upload out for you guys this week. I don't know what it will be. Give me some ideas of some videos you might want me to make in the coming days. This weekend we have UFC Vegas 105, Emmett versus Murphy. I'll make my picks and breakdown for that on Thursday or Friday. But until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.